Hello, TFA Church family. Today, our governor announced that he was lifting the stay-at-home order, thus allowing for churches to begin opening safely throughout our state. Hey, just before we go over all the information regarding how we're going to be reopening, I want to say thank you to our online team, Olivia Baker, Taylor Ruff, and Garrett Ruff. They have done an outstanding job of always providing the most up-to-date content that would be relevant and engaging with each one of us as we have been staying home. Also, I want to say thank you to each one of you who have been listening online. You've been faithful to worship with us online in a virtual way. You've continued to give faithfully, and you've ensured that our church has remained healthy, outward focused, and caring for one another. And I want to say thank you, and I'm so proud of you, TFA Church. Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys soon. We've learned a lot through this process, and my prayer is that we never take for granted the ability and the opportunity that we have to meet together each week. I can't wait to see each one of you and be able to experience the presence of God at our church campus once again together. Now we move to phase one of the reopening process. This phase, let me just say, is going to require a lot of patience on each one of our parts, flexibility, and a willingness to sacrifice for others. We're going to each one need to understand the whole idea of grace and patience. You know, a lot of this, let me say initially, is going to just seem like a hassle. And that's because it is. It's going to feel like, why are we going through all this trouble? Well, let me just say that we are looking out for the best interest of each one of our neighbors, of our church members. And so these things may feel like a hassle initially, but we're going to make it through. And remember, this is just phase one. This is just the beginning. The best days are ahead. On a recent telephone conference with our governor, over 500 pastors, which I was a part of, were a part of a conference with our governor, and he was mentioning several ideas for churches to be aware of as they begin meeting again. First of all, that initially in phase one, he is allowing for churches to have up to 25% of their capacity. But with that is the recommendation of 6 feet of social distancing as well. So on one hand, you have 25% seating capacity and then 6 feet of social distancing with that. Our sanctuary has been reset to allow for social distancing. We've measured and are observing the federal standards, 6 feet between family units. And as you might imagine, that means our capacity has been greatly reduced. We are able to accommodate approximately 75 people per service at this time. So let me give you just 2 big observations, and then we're going to kind of dive into several other areas. Number one, during phase one, we will have Sunday morning only services. That means there will be no kids ministry activities, no Sunday school, nursery is not available, child care is not available, connection classes, Wednesday night activities, and small groups will not meet. We fully anticipate the day where these are all restored as phase two of the reopening, but at least initially, we are only going to be having Sunday morning services. Practically, that means that you're going to be sitting with your kids in service, or your kids will be sitting with you. But please don't stress out right away. We know things are going to be a little louder. We know there's going to be a little bit more excitement in the room. We're going to be okay. You know, if your child throws a fit or starts screaming, please consider taking them out to the lobby, and we will understand, believe me. Secondly, beginning in 2 weeks on May 31st, and during phase one, we are going to be starting 2 services on Sunday morning. We will begin at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. on Sunday morning, beginning May 31st. Until then, we are still going to be continuing our online platform through Facebook live streaming. So in 2 weeks, May 31st is when we will expect to see each one of you and be able to worship together. As a part of that, we are cautiously taking the approach slowly initially. And so while we will be offering our 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. service here at our campus, we are still going to provide a 10:15 service online on Facebook Live. That will be a service that the sermon will be the same as our Sunday morning and much of the worship the same, but it will be a condensed video service that we'll be recording for you. We are taking a number of safety measures in our building, but let me just go over 8 of those with you so that we can kind of have a focused gathering together. First of all, to help prevent the spread of infection, we are encouraging you but not requiring you to wear a face mask. If you have a health condition that makes it impossible to wear a face mask, we understand. Secondly, common areas and gathering spaces of the building will be closed. That means there'll be no coffee, there'll be no gathering around the lobby. You'll want to come in the building and find a seat and then find out where you're sitting and then move on from there. Thirdly, between services, that again is between the 9 a.m. and the 11 o'clock service, the sanctuary, seating, and all high-touch services will be disinfected. We will only allow people in the room after that procedure is complete, between the 9 and 11 o'clock service. Fourth, hand sanitizing stations are set up throughout the building, and we encourage their frequent use. Fifth, as you enter the sanctuary, you will notice that rows have been spaced 6 feet apart. The seating has been left in place as far as the rows are concerned, but we are asking non-family units to please leave 3 chairs in between non-family units. For example, let's say I was coming in by myself and I was following, let's say, the Manning family into church. Well, the Manning family would sit together, 6 chairs, and let's say I was choosing a row with them. I would want to keep 3 seats in between myself and them. And you know, you can role play that. Let's say a person is coming in by themselves and another person is coming in by themselves. This person would sit on one chair and the next person would sit on another chair, 3 chairs apart. And that is approximately 6 feet between family units. Number 6, we will continually be wiping down surfaces in the restrooms and other high-touch areas. Number 7, we will not distribute any bulletins or printed materials. We will have a giving station set up in the back as you exit the room to where you can be able to give of your tithes and offerings as you always have. Number 8, greeters will be wearing masks and gloves, and we will not shake hands, hug, or high five. Instead, we will air hug, we will wave and smile as we're together. Hey, you know, there's a lot of tension in our country right now. We understand that some want to open and others passionately believe everything should stay closed. Here's how we're going to approach it going forward. We will respect the thoughts and preferences of others and not make anyone feel lesser or non-spiritual because they have a different approach. You've done a wonderful job, TFA Church, of caring for others the last 8 weeks. And let's keep that same attitude of love and concern as we transition into another way of doing church. We're not going to be, let me just say, we're not going to be the social distancing police. We are going to have grace. And so we understand that we're all church family. We're all grown-ups in the room. And so we'll post the guidelines and we'll communicate often, encourage you to follow them. But we're not going to walk around with a giant ruler to make sure that we're 6 feet apart. We're not going to be trying to enforce in a lawful way all of these guidelines. We're just simply communicating them and trying to take precautions to keep everyone safe. Hey, like you, I can't wait for us to be back to normal, whatever that new normal is. I can't wait to see you and be able to worship together. And I do look forward to worshiping with you soon. But in the meantime, I love you, and I certainly miss seeing every one of you. You know, as you can imagine, as you're listening to this video, we're going to need volunteers. We're going to need ministry partners and individuals that will say, hey, I'll be a part, because now we are going to do services, at least initially. And so if you would be willing to volunteer, help us by clicking the link that's in this post and following that along so that we can get your information to sign up to help us. Again, TFA Church, Stephanie and I love you. We consider it an honor to be your pastors. We'll be posting this video. We'll be sharing it. And so God bless you. Can't wait to see you soon.